Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Thursday, February 12th, 2026. If you work in tech, or honestly, if you just work in an office with Wi-Fi, you have probably felt the vibrations from the news that dropped yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
We are talking, of course, about Anthropic's release of Claude Cowork.
I think you could call it the press release that launched 1,000 emergency board meetings.
I don't think that's an exaggeration at all. I've seen big product launches before, GPT-4, the early iPhone keynotes, but this feels different.
It is different.
The analysis we're looking at today, especially from the Economic Times and some folks at EY India, describes the mood in the IT services sector as the most severe bout of soul-searching in decades. Soul-searching? That's heavy language for a software update.
It is, but I think the gravity is warranted here. We aren't just talking about a faster chatbot or, a slightly better way to write emails. We're talking about a $250 billion industry.
Right, the entire global IT services sector.
And it's suddenly staring down the barrel of a fundamental existential crisis. And the trigger is this whole concept of the digital coworker.
Claude Cowork.
Yeah.
And just to set the table for everyone listening, this isn't just an LLM you chat with in a browser window. The specs say it comes with 11 enterprise automation plugins right out of the box.
And that is the critical distinction. It's the difference. This isn't a tool you ask for help. It's a tool you assign a job to.
Okay.
It's designed to autonomously execute multi-step workflows. Think about finance reconciliation, level 1, customer support, data migration, marketing ops, all the bread and butter stuff that big companies usually outsource.
And that's where the panic starts. I was reading the projections and the numbers are just staggering. There's talk of revenue deflation of up to 40%.
40%.
Just pause on that. 40% of an industry's revenue just poof, gone. That isn't a recession. That's like an extinction event for some of these firms.
It's a terrifying figure.
Yeah.
But what we need to do today is look past that initial shock, because while the panic is very real, the reality on the ground is much more nuanced.
Right.
This isn't just robots taking all the jobs, but it is absolutely the end of a very specific business model.
Yeah.
The model of selling hours.
Selling hours versus selling outcomes. Okay, we're definitely going to get deep into that pivot later, but first, let's just stick with this panic. Why is this release causing such a meltdown? We've had AI for a while now. Why is this the tipping point?
It all comes down to the shift from assistance to agency.
So assistance to agency.
Yeah, for the last few years, really since 2023, we've been in the era of co-pilots. You write code, the AI suggests the next line. You write an email, it polishes the tone. The human is still the driver.
Right. It's a productivity booster. It makes me 20% faster, but I'm still the one steering the car.
Precisely. But agentic AI, which is what Claude Cowork represents, is a different beast entirely. It's the difference between a navigator and a chauffeur. You tell the agent, process these 5,000 invoices, reconcile them, and flag any discrepancies, and it goes off and does the whole thing. It logs in, it extracts data, it doesn't need you to hit enter after every step.
Okay, now I see the problem. If I am an IT services firm and my whole contract is based on billing for the 500 human hours it takes to do that manually,
You have a massive problem. The industry analysis uses a term that I think is going to define the next year of business conversations: effort compression.
effort compression sounds like a trash compactor for your timesheet.
That's a great way to think about it. It's compressing the human time required to get a result. Tech CEOs are scrambling right now to figure out just how fast this is happening. If a task that took 10 hours now takes 10 minutes, the effort has been compressed by, 98%?
And if your business is time and materials, literally billing for time, that compression is just straight up deflation.
Exactly. That is where that 40% figure comes from. If you sell time and the time required drops to almost nothing, your revenue follows it right down the drain.
That sounds absolutely terrifying. But you mentioned a reality check, so it's not a total apocalypse tomorrow, right? Because I feel like we hear the end of code every 6 months, but, developers are still getting hired.
You're right to be skeptical. The whole doom narrative assumes that companies are these pristine, clean environments where you just plug a robot in and it works.
And anyone who's ever worked at a big company knows that's definitely not the case.
Chuckles, no.
It's usually held together by duct tape and spreadsheets from 2008.
Or a mainframe from 1988. This is what the industry calls the messy enterprise defense. Large organizations run on fragmented data, legacy stacks, systems that don't talk to each other.
So Claude might be a genius, but if he can't talk to the old SQL database in the basement, he's stuck.
Completely stuck. A standalone tool, no matter how smart, cannot handle that kind of chaos alone. It needs orchestration. It needs enterprise-grade integration. You can't just set an agent loose and hope for the best.
That brings up the reliability issue, too. Move fast and break things is probably a bad motto when you're handling wire transfers.
It's a disaster waiting to happen. We are not at full autonomy yet. The reports point out that these agentic workflows, they still loop. They stall, they misfire.
Looping sounds like a nightmare, just an AI doing the same wrong thing over and over at lightning speed.
It happens. Or it hallucinates the steps. You need strict guardrails. Most enterprise leaders are terrified to grant these agents broad system access. I mean, imagine giving an AI full read-write access to your customer database.
Oh, wow.
If it misinterprets a command to clean up the data, you could lose your entire client list.
So the human in the loop isn't going away, they're just changing jobs. From doer to
Babysitter?
or supervisor or architect, ideally. But there's another economic principle here that suggests the industry won't just die, it'll grow differently. It's called the Jevons paradox.
Okay, convince me. Because usually when people bring this up, it feels like wishful thinking. Don't worry, the robot will just make us want more work. Well, look at the history of software. When we moved from punch cards to C++ to Python, each step made it way easier and faster to write code. So logically, we should have needed fewer engineers, right?
But that's not what happened at all. We have millions more now.
Because the cost of software dropped. So the demand for it just exploded. The whole software pie got bigger. The argument is that AI will do the same thing. As creating software gets cheaper, companies will just want more of it.
So if I can build an app for $1,000 instead of $100,000, I'm just going to build 100 apps.
That's the idea. But, and it's a huge but, the type of work changes completely. We're moving from building the bricks to designing the cathedral.
I like that analogy. But let's get back to the money, because payroll is next week. The analysis talks about a commercial shakeup in the next 12 to 24 months. What does that look like?
It's going to be turbulent. The prediction is that most programming becomes LLM-assisted almost immediately. Pilots are already suggesting up to 40% effort compression in build and support work.
40% in 24 months. That is a speed of change that big companies just can't handle.
And that's where the kind of contract you have becomes critical. The analysis breaks it down into two types: time and material, or T&M, and fixed price.
T&M is, I pay you for every hour you work. The lawyer model.
Exactly. If the job takes 2 hours, you pay for 2.
Yeah.
If it takes 10, you pay for 10. Those firms get hit first and hardest.
Because if the AI makes the developer 10 times faster,
You pay 10 times less. Your revenue just plummets as those routine hours get displaced.
so everyone should just switch to fixed price contracts then. I'll pay you $50,000 for the project. I don't care how long it takes.
In theory, fixed price firms are safer at first. If they use AI to do the work faster, they actually make more profit. Their costs go down, but the price is fixed.
I sense a trap coming.
A huge one.
Oh.
Because that contract eventually comes up for renewal. And the client isn't stupid. They know Claude Cowork exists.
I see. So when I go to renew, the client says, why am I paying you $50,000? I know this takes half the time now. I'll give you $25,000.
Exactly. The report says effort compresses first and pricing follows. Even if you hide behind fixed price deals, the market will catch up.
So this leads us to the pivot. If you can't sell hours and you can't really overcharge for projects, what on earth do you sell? How do these companies even survive?
You have to change the business model. You have to move from effort-based billing to AI-assisted outcome delivery.
Outcome delivery. Okay, that sounds a little bit like a buzzword. What does it actually look like?
It means you get paid for the result, not the work. So instead of charging a bank for 10,000 hours of customer support staff,
You charge them for resolving 50,000 tickets with a 95% satisfaction score.
exactly. You align your incentives with the client's success. But to do that, you can't just be a body shop anymore. You have to own the platform. This is the second part of the pivot, productizing the agent layer.
Okay, productizing the agent layer. Break that down for me.
Think about those messy enterprises we talked about. They need connectors, guardrails, security to make the AI work safely. The smart IT firms are building those platforms. They're standardizing the plumbing.
So they become the people who sell the safety equipment for the robot workers, not the workers themselves.
Yes. They're saying, don't just buy raw AI from Anthropic. Buy our finance optimization platform that uses Anthropic but comes with all our compliance checks and industry expertise built in.
That makes sense. You wrap the commodity AI in a layer of value.
And speaking of compliance, that creates a massive new opportunity. The analysis calls it a gold rush in AI governance and risk management.
Oh, I can imagine. If I'm a CEO, my biggest fear isn't efficiency, it's a lawsuit. Or a regulatory fine because my AI was biased?
Spot on. As AI digs deeper into sensitive workflows, the need for controls is just skyrocketing. We're talking about things like contextual grounding.
Contextual grounding.
It means if Claude tries to execute a trade, another AI model is there to review that trade against compliance rules before it actually happens. Building that verification layer is a massive, massive project.
So IT firms evolve into digital auditors almost?
In a way,
Yeah.
they package compliance and security as a recurring service.
Mm-hmm.
We will monitor your agent fleet. That's a very sticky, high-value service.
The common thread here is just moving up the food chain. You can't be the grunt work anymore.
You can't. The grunt work is now software. The human value is in the strategy, the governance, the integration.
But how do you convince a client to switch to this new model? The analysis mentioned a blueprint.
A priced automation blueprint. It's a proactive sales strategy. Instead of waiting for the client to complain about the bill, you go to them first.
Yeah.
You say, here is a map of your operations. Here's where we can apply AI. Here's how much money it will save you. And here's the new price for us to manage that outcome for you.
That is incredibly bold. You're basically telling them how to pay you less.
You are cannibalizing your own short-term revenue to secure the long-term partnership. Because if you don't do it, a competitor will walk in with that same blueprint and steal your client.
It's the classic disrupt yourself before someone else does.
It is. The reports explicitly say leaders must have the courage to cannibalize outdated paradigms.
That's a tough pill to swallow for a public company with quarterly earnings. Hey, investors, we decided to slash our billable hours by 40% on purpose.
It is incredibly difficult. That's why they call it soul searching. But the alternative is irrelevance. The research concludes with a very stark warning. Those who do not adapt will lose, and lose fast.
Lose fast. That's not the slow decline we saw with, the shift to the cloud. This feels more like a cliff edge.
The speed is the defining factor.
Yeah.
Because software scales instantly. Once a digital coworker is proven in one bank, it can be copied to every bank in the world overnight.
So bringing it back down to the human level, what does this mean for the actual people working in these firms? The developers, the analysts?
It means they need to become architects rather than builders. If you're a coder, you need to learn how to design systems that LLMs can build. If you're in support, you need to manage customer success workflows, not just answer phones.
The skill set shifts from doing the thing to managing the thing that does the thing.
That's a great way to put it. You're designing the factory, not assembling the car.
It's a fascinating, if slightly terrifying, picture. A $250 billion industry is being told to change its entire foundation in about 24 months.
It's unprecedented,
Yeah.
but it's also exciting. If we get this right, we could see an explosion in productivity that actually makes work better. We get rid of the drudgery.
That's the optimistic take. Get rid of the boring stuff so we can focus on the interesting stuff.
Exactly. But we have to survive the transition first.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the key takeaway is clear. The panic over Claude Cowork is real, but it's a signal, not a sentence. The industry isn't dying, but the hourly billing model definitely is.
Absolutely. The future belongs to those who use AI for reinvention, not just a little more productivity. It's about changing what you sell, not just how you make it.
And for everyone listening, I want to leave you with a thought. We talked a lot about effort compression today. The idea that AI can reduce the human effort needed for a task by 40, 80, even 90%.
The metric of the moment.
So here's the thought to leave you with. If your current job description can be written down in a manual, Claude Cowork is already learning how to do it. The only safe job left is writing the manual. So the question is, are you the author or are you the content?
That is the question to ask.
Something to think about. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll be back next time to unpack another complex topic. See you then.